Hello and welcome to another episode of Now Showing, where I go through all the movies I've seen this week. I am excited to tell you about some fun films, both on Netflix and in theater, and a Spirit of Halloween episodes because it is Halloween. First up is the Netflix film All Quiet on the Western Front. Since the novel was released by Eric Maria Remarque, it's been frequently part of required reading lists for students in America and elsewhere. This movie, All Quiet on the Western Front, has also been adapted into films more than once, including a theatrical release in 1930 and a TV movie version in 1979. Now we get a German language feature made in the style of a modern war film and released on Netflix. It's a faithful adaptation of Remarque's novel, clocking in at nearly 2.5 hours. It follows Paul, played by Felix Kammerer, and his group of friends who volunteer to serve with the German army on the Western Front during World War I. What follows is a grim account of life at the front and in the trenches. This story doesn't sugarcoat the cost of war. It shows it for all its horrors, using some tense techniques and capturing harrowing battles and the daily grind and suffering for those living in the trenches, where most of the war was fought over those several brutal years. Director Edward Berger does a great job of depicting this horror, especially in an opening sequence that was quite engaging and powerful. Is actually my favorite part of the film. Still, it's a difficult story, and it makes the film feel like a bit of a slog at times. Those who are fans of the book, though, will likely appreciate this new take on the material. All Quiet on the Western Front is now streaming on Netflix. I gave it 3 stars out of 5. Next up on the list is another Netflix film, and that's The Good Nurse. This one's based on a true story, and it's a biopic that finds Eddie Redmayne as Charlie Cullen, a nurse who is bounced from hospital to hospital. Each of his stops have one thing in common: unexplained deaths. Meanwhile, Amy, played by Jessica Chastain, is a single mother and ICU nurse with a heart issue. She needs a few more months of employment to qualify for insurance that could save her life. When Charlie comes to work with her, he appears to be a godsend. He helps her through her condition, becomes her friend and confidant, and even bonds with her children. When patients turn up dead, though, she's confronted with a very troubling reality that her friend might be the root cause. This is a difficult and heartbreaking story. It also co-stars Nnamdi Asomugha and Noah Emmerich, who play the detectives investigating these crimes. Both of them do a nice job, but the focus here is really Redmayne and Chastain, who give strong performances and lift up the material. Redmayne, in particular, has some very incredible scenes, including a slow unraveling when he is brought in for interrogation. This also isn't an easy story, but the film does a nice job of laying out the people and the world and delivering an engaging portrait of these two characters and their collision. The Good Nurse is now streaming on Netflix. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a player come award season. Another award season player figures to be Tar, the latest film from Todd Field. He's back with an original story that features an incredible lead performance from Cate Blanchett, who plays Lydia Tarr, a decorated composer who's on the cusp of great professional triumph. She's about to conduct the Berlin Symphony in a special live recorded performance, and her new book, Tar on Tar, is about to be released. As we open, she's on a promotional tour through New York, and while she's at her height professionally, personally, things are a bit of a struggle. She's got a complicated relationship with her partner, played by Nina Haas, who's a violinist in the orchestra that she leads in Berlin. She's also embroiled in a personal scandal involving her assistant and a former student that threaten her career and reputation. This is a slow-moving character piece, and the dialogue and framing are quite good here, as Field specializes in telling these kind of engaging stories of difficult people. If you'll recall, he previously did the film In the Bedroom and Little Children. This story is no different from some of his early work in terms of tackling that difficult material and being buoyed by some beautiful performances and some thoughtful direction. It's not an easy story to watch, and Lydia Tarr is not an ideal protagonist. We're watching her spin out and seeing the damage it brings to all those around her, who includes her partner and her child. What elevates this film to another level is the performance of Blanchett. It's one of the best performances of the year, and she should rightly be in consideration for Best Actress. So take a shot and go check out this film, which is now playing in theaters. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It is worth it for Cate Blanchett alone. Next up, we have the Netflix original film Wendell and Wild. The latest from Netflix is a stop motion animation title. It comes from director Henry Selick, who gave us The Nightmare Before Christmas. He co wrote the screenplay with Jordan Peele, and it's based on his unpublished book that he wrote with Clay McLeod. In it, Kat, voiced by Lyric Ross, loses both of her parents and feels like an outcast. But her special powers grant her the ability to summon demons. Wendell, voiced by Keegan-Michael Key, and Wild, voiced by Jordan Peele himself, with the promise that they'll raise her parents from the dead. It's a promise that isn't without some complications, and soon Kat finds herself under the wing of a nun, voiced by Angela Bassett, who knows a little something about demons and getting out of jams. It's a fascinating looking film and has some great animated style. Selick has worked in the medium for a long time and crafted some classic films, and this matches some of his previous work. Where it loses me is the story. There's a lot going on here, and it's incredibly complex to follow at times. It squeezes a lot of plot into its runtime, and it doesn't always make for a smooth presentation. I enjoyed the visuals a lot, and I like the voice cast, but I wasn't always taken with the story. Wendell and Wild is on Netflix, and I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5. To wrap things up, my streaming pick of the week, this is Bela Lugosi as Dracula, and I wanted to throw that out there because it's Halloween, and I thought I'd give a shout out to Peacock, which has a great home of streaming collection of classic horror films. I watched a few of them in the last week, including Lugosi as Dracula in the original 1931 film. I also saw Boris Karloff as the monster in Frankenstein, and Imhotep in the original version of The Mummy. Both of them are also available to stream on Peacock. If you're a film fan like me and you want to check some of these out, none of them is longer than 75 minutes, and each is a celebration of the classic tales and of classic filmmaking. If you've never seen them, this is a great year and a great day to make a point to embrace these classics and enjoy a little bit of classic cinema on Halloween. Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, and so many more are now streaming on Peacock. I hope you get a chance to check them out and check out some of the other titles I referenced, and more importantly, I hope you have a happy Halloween.